afternoon, Barry. Welcome to the podcast. My name's Cathy Mellett from I'm Enough. Barry Auchettl has joined us again today to share with us some of his insights. And today we're covering a topic which seems to be quite a deep topic, but I'd be very interested to find your thoughts around this. The topic today is overcoming threatening illnesses. And illnesses, I suppose, Barry, is a very wide range of illnesses to the body, illnesses to the mind, etc., etc.
Sure. Thanks, Cathy. Look, it is something that's really important to me. And I guess the first thing is to recognise that it is a place where I've come from. You know, I've had a number of brain tumours in my life where I was told at one point that I actually had 2 hours left to live. And you can imagine in that scenario, probably most people can't imagine, where literally I was told I had 2 hours and then to take a seat. And I often sort of joke to people that, you know, it was a 3-hour waiting list, you know, to get in. But it was a case which was, you know, really at the time, you're sitting there and you just, you start bargaining with God. You do whatever it takes, I guess, to get through that sort of a period. And about 10 years earlier, I had a previous operation in the same space. And so it's been a journey for me to having to learn to think about serious illness differently. Because where I came from was really a place where I went through life, and not just illness, but life in general, of looking at the worst possible scenario. So that I wouldn't be disappointed, I looked at everything in the worst possible light, that this won't succeed, no, they won't pick me, that won't happen. And then if it didn't happen, I felt like I wasn't so disappointed. But generally speaking, whatever I was thinking of, that they won't pick me or I won't get selected or this won't happen, it generally came true because that's the energy I put out.
What is that saying? Expect the worst and then you won't be disappointed.
That's right. It was that sort of a scenario. Now, when you get a life-threatening illness, I couldn't use that anymore because in that scenario, you know, quite simply, I would have died. You know, it was like the worst case scenario was that I was going to die, and that just wasn't acceptable to me. You know, there was something innate within me that said, I want to fight this, and fight it not in the sense of jumping up and down, but fight it in terms of what was going on here for me, because that has to be the first place. And so I started changing the way that I was thinking from worst case scenario to best possible scenario. You know, what would be the best possible thing that could happen to me? And this wasn't about being unreal about what was going on. You know, there were some really serious consequences to what was happening to me. But even if I reached halfway there, you know, my quality of life, even if I passed away back then, my quality of life was far superior than what it even was in the beforehand, because it shifted my whole life totally. And so serious illness, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a brain tumor, but we all carry stuff that's really serious to who we are. You know, that could be a physical injury, or as you said, it could be what's going on in our mind that's really playing havoc to who we are. You know, we all have our brain tumours in one form or another, if you like. And pretty interesting we talk about brain tumours because really, you know, the biggest issue is what's going on in the brain behind all of that. And so for me, there is a number of processes that we can shift our mindset, number one. And there's you know, we've talked earlier about mindset, and shifting our mindset from a negative mindset to a positive mindset, for me, was really crucial. But there are three things I really want to talk to you today about in terms of making a change, regardless of whether it's a mental issue that's going on, even if it's just some anguish and you're just feeling really uncomfortable. The first one I want to talk to you about is meditation. You know, we often hear about meditation and what is that. You know, meditation to me is something that is crucial. And you can YouTube, you know, the great thing about the digital age is that there's plenty of information available. And I find the easiest one are visualizations. You know, get a guided visualization, some nice music, someone's taking me up on a hill and I'm going through a waterfall, I'm going to a park, and I'm just feeling more and more relaxed. And I find in that way, my mind's not jumping in and trying to take over. Oh, you know, is this over? How much longer have I got to go? What's going on? Because I can follow the story and it stops my mind from keeping busy. And meditation has a process of slowing me down a little bit. And when I slow down, I seem to be able to make better decisions than when I don't do that, and try to make it when I'm all flustered, and especially if stuff is going on around me. So the first one that I wrote down is meditation. The other one, and it's almost a short-term one, it's a really interesting one, is about dreams. And I know in my life that sometimes I meditate really well and sometimes I don't. And when I don't meditate well, I get really good dreams, and it's like one or the other. They're both ways the subconscious gives me information. And like most people, you may be in that case that you don't remember your dreams. What I found is the best way for me to remember dreams is to have a notebook beside my bed. And when I wake up, I write down whatever comes to my mind, because sometimes I don't even done this, but I'll wake up and say, oh, wow, what a dream. Oh, what was it about again? And I've lost it. And so if I just write down one or two words, and that's how I started, I used to write down one or two words, maybe even a feeling, oh, gee, I felt like a bit yucky today. I might have to just be careful about what's going on. I'll just be a little bit, gentle and just keep an eye on what's happening out in the world. And what happens is every day you get more and more recall of your dreams. And they can give you some insights about what's going on in your world as well. And the third one,
I think that's absolutely powerful. Sorry, Barry. Yep.
No, I'll just finish the third one and I'll let you, I know it's sort of going a bit long, but the third one that I think is just really important is self-empathy. And I've talked about this before, but the key aspect here in anything is about being really gentle on yourself. One of the things that I thought is I have to beat this. I have to be cured by tomorrow, like I have to overcome this. And being gentle on myself is saying it's okay for me to be sick for a while even. And make that okay for myself.
And if we go back through all those points, I think the first thing around meditation can be very hard when you start out doing it, because your mind naturally wants to go off. And again, it's accepting that it's going to do that and then just gently bringing it back. The last thing is being hard on yourself and giving yourself the grace to accept that you don't need to be hard on yourself. And again, that comes through when other people are being hard on you, and you actually have to go, I'm going to take a breath. I'm just going to take a step back. I'm either going to what they call turn dark, so that I'm no longer on social media, so I'm not confronted with that. And I think one of my team members was actually talking about, cyberbullying, and you can't be cyberbullied if you're not online.
Yeah. I actually, this is going back where we had these chat rooms way back, and there was a chat room when I had this brain tumor, and I remember going onto a chat room and I tried to say, look, I'm trying to see this positively, and I'm trying to be really positive about moving forward with this and see it from a different light and see it as a chance for growth in me rather than something that's going to be debilitation. And people came on and the people started abusing me on the line. It was really... And it was like, and then other people came on to defend me, and they weren't even really defending me. They were defending their own stuff of what was going on. And I had this sort of battle that was going on all of a sudden. And I did exactly what you said. I just, look, you guys do what you need to do. Is this going to help me? And, if it's going to help jumping up and down and have a bit of a scream with people for a minute, that's fine. But it wasn't going to help me in dealing with what was actually happening for me at the time. So I actually made that conscious choice of going, well, I just don't want to play this system, I'll do something else, and read some other books. I spoke to other people who were more supportive about what I was going through.
And I think, Barry, the thing that I'm hearing in every single one of the sessions you and I've done together, it's about understanding what's going on, labeling what's going on, but actually taking a step back, taking a breath, understanding that you have the power to do something about it, either altering your mindset, changing a thought pattern, but you can do all of that by your meditation, by your dreams, and by your self-empathy, and actually understanding that you can be self-conscious and self-aware and and give yourself the grace to take the time out, or give yourself the grace to feel in a certain way.
Yeah. And it's a really great gift to give yourself, is that space, just to have that space. And especially if there's mental stuff going on, to have that space and say, I just need some time out here, and to have some downtime. Like we often talk about there's so much to do. And I notice myself, I can be watching a movie and sitting on the phone at the same time now. If the movie's a bit slow, I'll grab the computer and I'll have my phone, I'll be texting someone while the movie's on, and I might be checking something else. And we're at an age now where we are doing 2, 3, 4, 5 things at once. And sometimes it's good to have that downtime. And it might be, I'm just going to watch this movie and not do anything else during the movie, but just be with that and to slow myself down deliberately.
What about the other element about, you've used the opportunity of, or the experience of going to sit with a movie and have the downtime to that, but what about getting out into nature? I mean, within the New Zealand context, you're in Australia, there's a lot of nature around us, and how will that be for giving yourself the self-indulgence of that little bit of time to ponder?
Sure. And for me personally, like I just love walking. I know when I walk and even bike riding, I hop on a bike here on the Gold Coast in Australia, and there's something like 300 kilometres of tracks. And my favourite thing is hopping on a bike and finding a track that I haven't been on. And it's like, where does this go? And I said, I'll find out. And I start exploring this track. And as I do that, it's almost like I'll just allow myself to relax and be in the moment. And so all the other stuff that might be worrying me is just not there, because I'm fully present in exploring and being curious about what's out there.
And I think that's probably a really powerful point to end this off, is that being in the moment. Because if you're in the moment, you're not fearful about what could be, might be, could happen, should happen. And you're not worried about what you still have to do, because you're actually in the present doing what you should do now. And isn't that really what mindfulness is all about?
Totally. And the final thing I just want to add to that, of course, is a really, really important point. And it's probably the point in terms of this session. It's okay to ask for help. Whether it's medical help or help from friends or help from a counsellor, it's okay to ask for help. And in actual fact, people get value in knowing that they can actually help you if you need help, because it makes them feel good. It's like, if you think about how you feel when you go and help someone else. And so make it okay for yourself to ask for help, that it doesn't have to be something that you do by yourself. It's such an important aspect in being really kind to yourself, is saying, I'm going to be kind enough and strong enough to ask for help. I can't do all this by myself.
I'm not alone.
I'm not alone.
And no more in that environment where you're digital, where you can feel alone when you've got an onslaught from somewhere. Seek help from somebody else. Seek help from a kind friend. Seek help from a confidant. Seek help from your parents. And never play down the value that parents can have in this whole area.
Yeah. It's quite interesting. I know my son, he went to uni and he did all these activities that were exactly the same activities that I did. He came home once, he said, Dad, I did all these things that no one's ever done before. And I just sort of smiled and said, like, okay, I'll let him have his moment. And just recognise that, we were all young once and we all like to go through that process. And in many ways, we're still going through that process. So people are there for support and to have a little bit of courage, because it takes some courage sometimes to say, look, Mum, Dad, wherever it is, counsellor, I need some help here.
Absolutely. And I think on that note, if we end off the session, and once again, Barry, I'd like to thank you very much for sharing of your valuable time with us, and for sharing the knowledge about, what overcoming that illness and overcoming that mindset and overcoming that thought process. So once again, thank you very much.
Oh, look, you're welcome. I just sort of finished by letting you know that about 12 months ago, I went back to the surgeon and they said, not only do you not have a brain tumour, but we never want to see you again. So I'm really pleased. That's a past history of my life as well. So past chapter.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Barry, and I'm really pleased to hear that.
Okay, thanks, Cathy.